You wake to whispers in the night, rumors about a murderer whose name carries dread, whose silhouette stands between you and brutal chaos. You live in the Naruto universe, where nightmares come dressed in warm smiles and silent eyes. They call him Itachi Uchiha. To your village, he was the ultimate betrayer, the elder brother who slaughtered his entire clan in a single bloody night, sparing only his younger brother, Sasuke. Children shivered at the sound of his name, elders cursed the tatters of his legacy, and school lessons spoke of him in hushed tones, a traitor who left the shinobi world scarred. But that reputation, as vicious as it was, hides the truth of who he really was, because Itachi's murder wasn't for power or malice, it was for peace. When his clan plotted a coup that would have ignited civil war and drenched the village in blood, he was cornered by impossible choices. Ordered by the elders, Itachi sacrificed his honor and his entire lineage to save millions. He remained a criminal in the eyes of the world, bearing the burden of dungeon-level hatred so the rest of you could sleep safely at night. You don't look at him now without trembling. With every broadcast or wanted poster, they paint him as a villain. Yet behind closed doors, in quiet moments when you thought no one was listening, you've heard whispers of his real legacy. By accepting exile and joining the criminal underworld, he became a shadow guardian. From within Akatsuki's ranks, a dangerous place, he carefully prevented calamity from reaching your doorstep. He didn't spare Sasuke out of cruelty, he spared him out of love. Itachi sculpted his brother's path, forging him into someone powerful enough to protect himself, burdened to one day carry the truth. His cruelty was real, but it was wielded like a broken blade, cutting away threats before they could destroy everything. Even in death, he chose to protect. Brought back during war by forbidden techniques, Itachi freed himself to teach and aid, sealing illusions that trapped allies in perpetual suffering. Before disappearing, he revealed his truth to Sasuke. "I've always loved you," he whispered, dying with forgiveness in his voice.
You wake to a kingdom where death comes wrapped in charm, where shadows speak in whispers before the fall. You live in the Pride Lands, where lions and hyenas both fear one name above all: Scar. He rose to the throne not by right, but by betrayal. The rule in those days was simple. It favored strength and sincerity. Yet there he stood, Mufasa's own brother, envious and clever, orchestrating catastrophe, a stampede that claimed the king's life and exiled the heir. Few lions explain why Scar did it. His reign seemed built instead on cunning whispers and cracks in the land. Grass withered, water ran low, and hyenas roamed the hills unchecked. It became common to joke that life under Scar was a slow suffocation. Yet there's more to his story than cruelty's script. Because before he betrayed everything, Scar was born Ascari. Young, overlooked, wounded by jealousy, yet ambitious. His bitter envy stemmed not just from losing a throne, but from losing recognition. It wasn't born from pure evil, but from a wound that never healed. According to accounts now whispered by historians, Scar killed not just to take a crown, but to fill the emptiness of being perpetually overshadowed. Scholars say that understanding this doesn't excuse his crime, but it reveals a tragic fracture in how we create villains. Yes, he allied with hyenas, natural enemies, pulling them into his court with charisma. He offered them power, a chance. That's political brilliance, twisted but undeniable. Under Scar's rule, the Pride Lands survived drought and scarcity. The alliances he forged were desperate yet functional. Even Mufasa's leadership, root in fairness, did not account for how quickly nature deserted a kingdom once the balance was broken. But Scar's reign, for all its tyranny, held against collapse longer than many assumed. Still, Scar's legacy remains that of a tyrant. He ruled through fear and dysfunction. The landscape he held became an echo of his heartbreak, not a throne of peace. His leadership was unsustainable, driven by guilt, envy, and grief, not wisdom. And in the end, love and forgiveness overcame him. Simba returned, full-hearted, and forced Scar to face the consequences. He was born a merciless predator, destined to rule over mankind. But what if Hunter x Hunter's most terrifying villain discovered a human emotion that changed everything? Meruem is the Chimera Ant King, effectively the final boss of Hunter x Hunter's Chimera Ant arc. As the ultimate product of a species that feeds on humans, he proves himself a fearsome villain. From the moment of his birth, Meruem exudes cruelty. He literally tears his way out of his own mother, killing her in the process, and shows no mercy to those around him, treating humans as nothing more than livestock. With overwhelming strength and cold intellect, he soon earns a reputation as one of the series' most frightening and unstoppable antagonists. For all his horrific deeds, Meruem turns out to be more than just a monster. His turning point comes when he meets Komugi, a blind village girl who happens to be a genius at a board game called Gungi. She repeatedly defeats the arrogant king, something no one else had ever done. Instead of killing her in frustration, Meruem becomes intrigued and even humbled. He even shows a sense of honor. After trying to frighten Komugi into losing, he feels so ashamed that he rips off his own arm in apology. Through their many matches, the once cruel king begins to develop empathy and genuine care for a human. Meruem starts to question his violent purpose, wondering if he should use his power to protect the weak instead of preying on them. His inner change is finally tested in a climactic battle. After a fateful duel with the Hunter's chairman ends in a devastating explosion, a fatally wounded Meruem chooses not to seek revenge. Instead, he returns to Komugi's side and spends his final moments playing one last game with her. In the end, the once dreaded king dies not as a tyrant, but as a compassionate soul, revealing the heroic spark inside him all along. Fittingly, Meruem's name means the light that illuminates all, a clue from his dying mother that even this dark king had the potential to shine. It's an ironic detail for a character who starts as the embodiment of cruelty, yet ends up delivering one of anime's most poignant redemption arcs. He started as humanity's greatest hope and ended as its most feared enemy. But could Attack on Titan's final villain, Eren Yeager, actually have been the good guy all along? Attack on Titan unfolds in a world where humanity huddles behind walls to escape giant man-eating titans. Eren Yeager begins as the passionate hero vowing to exterminate these monsters and free his people. However, over the course of the story, Eren's character takes a drastic turn. He transitions from a symbol of hope into a cataclysmic fallen hero, who instigates a global atrocity known as the Rumbling. By the final arc, Eren shocks allies and enemies alike by unleashing an army of colossal titans to trample the world, a heel turn that cements his reputation as the series' ultimate antagonist. This dramatic transformation sets the stage for a complex debate. Is Eren a true villain or a tragic savior in disguise? Eren's evil deeds were driven by a twisted sense of justice and love for his people. He initiated the apocalyptic rumbling not out of pure malice, but to eliminate the enemies threatening his homeland of Paradise Island and protect his friends from annihilation. In Eren's view, destroying most of humanity was a horrific means to a peaceful end, the only way to break a cycle of hatred and ensure Eldia's survival. This extreme solution painted him as a monster worldwide, yet it stemmed from an arguably selfless resolve. Eren was willing to become a devil so that his loved ones could live free. In fact, he even orchestrated his own defeat, allowing his former comrades to stop him, specifically so they would be hailed as heroes who saved the world. Behind his frightening facade was a desperate, tragic hero determined to sacrifice everything, even his own soul, for the greater good. In the end, Eren's plan resulted in an almost unfathomable cost. Roughly 80% of humanity perished by his hand. Yet, ironically, his downfall achieved what generations of warriors could not. It forever ended the Titan curse. After Eren's death, the power of the Titans vanished, and all surviving Titans reverted back to normal human form, freeing the world from that terror once and for all. He rained destruction upon a peaceful village and claimed the lives of countless innocents. Yet what if Nagato, the man behind the title of Pain, was trying to save the world he'd lost? Nagato, known as Pain, is introduced in Naruto Shippuden as the feared leader of Akatsuki, wielding godlike Rinnegan powers. Born amid war and tragedy, he once dreamed of peace, trained by Jiraiya alongside Yahiko and Konan. After Yahiko's death, disillusioned by humanity's repeated failures, Nagato embraced a brutal philosophy. Only by forcing people to suffer could they ever understand and appreciate peace. He attacks Konoha with devastating power, leveling the village. Yet his path does not end in villainy. It's a tragic, painful attempt to rebuild a world that crushed him. Beneath his destructive acts lies a damaged idealist. His reputation as a villain is well earned. He killed hundreds without remorse and declared himself a god over life and death. Yet he also gave voice to a scarred philosophy, that suffering is the teacher peace refuses to heed. When faced by Naruto's unwavering hope and respect for Jiraiya's ideals, Nagato reawakens to who he once was, a man haunted by loss, not a monster by choice. In his redemption, he sacrifices his life to use the Rinnegan one last time to revive all villagers he killed, including legendary ninjas at the cost of his own life. It's not just a moment of heroism, but the painful return of a former guardian to something better. Before becoming Pain, Nagato was a fragile, quiet boy with a strong distaste for violence. Someone who moved only through tears and devotion to his friends and to Jiraiya. His transformation into a feared war god was, ironically, born from heartbreak and betrayal. In his final moments, he even self-identifies not as a god, but as the failed middle volume of a trilogy started by Jiraiya and ended by Naruto. His story, incomplete but essential to the tale of peace. He wanted to overthrow a kingdom, but his rage might stem from pain we've ignored far too long. In Black Panther, Eric Killmonger is portrayed as the villainous cousin of King T'Challa, staking claim to Wakanda's throne through violence and vengeance. Born outside the isolationist utopia of Wakanda, he grew up amidst systemic oppression and loss, his path shaped by trauma and exile. When he returns, he challenges Wakanda to abandon secrecy and confront global injustice, or face his wrath. Killmonger's reputation is undeniably fearsome. He defeats T'Challa in ritual combat, nearly kills his cousin, and immediately begins purging royal guards. His ambition extends beyond Wakanda. He plans to arm oppressed black populations worldwide, igniting revolutions and dismantling corrupt systems. But beneath that ruthlessness lies a morally complex motive. A burning desire to free his people from oppression using Wakanda's unmatched resources. He calls out Wakanda's isolation as a betrayal of global black suffering. His rage isn't mindless, it's a radical plea for justice after generations of silence from his homeland. In many viewers' eyes, Killmonger becomes the tragic hero of a world that never gave him a chance. His vision forces Wakanda and us to confront uncomfortable truths about privilege, complicity, and responsibility. His impact lingers. T'Challa emerges inspired to share Wakanda's wealth and influence, merging isolationism with global accountability. A lasting testament to Killmonger's radical, if violent, wake-up call. The film frames Killmonger as a tragic mirror of Malcolm X. His push-to-the-edge fury against oppression made him both terrifying and deeply sympathetic. Actor Michael B. Jordan crafted Killmonger's appearance and mannerisms with references to Huey Newton, Malcolm X, and Marcus Garvey, founders of the Black Panther and Black Power movements, to root the character in real-world resistance and identity.